I am such a boomer, man. I don't, there are buttons to press, and I just don't quite know what I'm doing. It's been 2 years since the Prague Corner's inauguration, and you would think that I would know what I'm doing by now. But greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott. You're on the Prague Corner and the Sunday Prague stream. Wayne, this is the 16th straight Sunday. We've been doing the Sunday Prague stream. Thank you for being there for all of us. You took 1 week off, but that was an excuse. You had a doctor's note, so it was okay. Yeah. How are you doing today, Wayne?
Oh, not bad. We got to talk about, in my opinion, the guy. Without him, there is no Prague. Or at least as we know it. So we get to talk about legendary Frank Zappa today.
There you go. Just amazing. Be great. And, backed by popular demand, I tried to stop this tidal wave, this tsunami of support for Cody, but I couldn't. The people have spoken. It's Cody from Brockway's Vinyl Bites back again on the Sunday Prague stream. Cody, thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Now, why would you want to stop that tsunami?
I'm just a negative guy.
Yeah, totally.
and maybe I'm just a little bit of afraid of commitment, but that's okay. It took what? We didn't even fully promote Wayne to the actual official co-host of the Sunday Prague stream until like 5 or 6 weeks ago. So that's just, I'm a boomer, man. I do things an old, fashioned way. I'm slow to accept change, but that's all right, man. Next week, we've decided already what we're doing next week. We are doing on the Sunday Prague stream on Christmas Eve. We are doing the Mount Rushmore of Prague. Wayne, it's going to be awesome. And the subject of today's episode, Frank Zappa, man, it's going to be hard keeping his face off of that Mount Rushmore of Prague. What do you think?
Yeah, like I said, without Prague, Zappa, Prague, people talk about who originated it. It's pretty hard to say that Frank Zappa isn't one of the founders of progressive rock. Even going up, Hot Rats came out just before In the Court of the Crimson King, and that's just as proggy as anything you'll hear. So
definitely.
And we got an all-star cast here. We've got Kevin from Prague Radio in the Peanut Gallery.
I love Prague Radio.
The one and only Jeff Shilka. Thank you, Jeff, for all your love and support. But I'm sorry, fellers. Most importantly, we've got Naomi from 365 Days of Prague in the house. Naomi, I don't know if you're a Zappa type person or not, but maybe, just maybe, I'll shoot a link here in the chat. If you want to jump on board, if you want to talk about Zappa, I think we all agree that's fantastic. We've got the French vinyl addict in the Peanut Gallery. We've got Kyle. He might jump on board. He's always welcome to. And who else was I going to give a quick shout out to? The Colonel Ed. He's in the house. Thank you, Colonel, for all your support. Ian. Hello, everybody. Peter Jones. We're talking about the one and only Frank Vincent Zappa. Cody, tell me about how Zappa entered your life and entered into your bloodstream. He's like a bad drug or something, right, man? It doesn't take much, and then you're hooked. How did you get hooked on the Zappa?
Well, before we get into that, I just want to say thank you guys, both Wayne and Scott, for having me on for the second week in a row. I really appreciate being on here with you guys. I'm forever grateful.
No.
I love the Prague Corner, and I love you guys, and I love being here with you guys. So just wanted to get that out of the way. But thank you very much. When I was really young, I think I told you guys in the last stream, but my dad is a musician and he loves all sorts of music. And he was basically playing me the Apostrophe and Overnight Sensation album when I was like 4 or 5 years old. This exact CD right here, it's got both albums on one disc. This is the 90s Ryko disc edition. And he's playing me songs like Don't Eat the Yellow Snow and Stinkfoot and all those songs. So that is how I got into Zappa, kind of a little bit, not over, obviously I was really young, like 4 or 5 years old. but it would be probably another 10 years. And then I would go to a record store, before I owned my own. But I would go to a record store when I was in my early teens, and I saw the Overnight Sensation. I'm like, oh, that's the one my dad used to play. Now, I didn't know. I guess I didn't know that this was two separate albums at the time. So when I got Overnight Sensation, it opened up with Camarillo Brillo, but I was like, it's okay. And it was great, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. Then I was getting into songs like Dynamo Hum and all those tunes, all that crazy stuff. And that's when my dad was like, okay, if you like that, go listen to Joe's Garage. And then I just went everywhere. I went, Hot Rats, Zoodlers, Roxy and Elsewhere, the Apostrophe album, like, the rest of it. And You Are What You Is. Then I got into kind of the whole catalog, right? Just,
you mentioned that whole catalog. It took me probably over a year and a half before I decided I was mentally ready to take on ranking the Zappa albums. The discography is so huge. And when you do a rankings episode, it's kind of, permanent, man. It's the permanent record. Anybody that Google's, ranking the Zappa albums, there's a real good chance they're going to be watching my video. So I wanted to make sure, I didn't get anything too wrong, that I didn't really mess it up too badly.
Well, my number one,
so crazy, man.
My number one is cemented. I mean, everything else on the list has a possibility of maybe changing by the day.
Really?
I mean, everything else.
What's your number one album? We're going to do the top 10 Zappa songs. But we could just do like real fast, go around. Favorite Zappa albums, real quick, Cody. What would that be for you? You said there's one that.
Well, no, there's one. Well, yeah, there's one album, but there's for the songs list, there's one song that has to be the number one.
Okay, we'll get to that later. That you got to stick around for that, boys and girls. We're just talking real quick about albums. What is One Size?
Albums One Size Fits All. My gosh, yeah, that's really up there for me. I could listen to that. I could put that on repeat and listen to it all day. Wow. I got a whole stack of them here.
Yeah.
The Roxy and Elsewhere.
Roxy.
The Zappa in New York, 77. The Halloween, 77. I love that 77 period with Terry Bozzio too. It's just excellent. So yeah, I could pretty much just obsess over all of these albums. They could all be number one any day of the week.
Yeah, Wayne, favorite album or two or whatever.
Right off on my head, album that got me into Frank Zappa, Joe's Garage.
Yeah.
Fantastic record. I remember back in the day of when you downloaded music and stuff, I just seen Zappa in a guitar magazine and said, I'll check it out. And then seen some of the song titles, so I'm like, I'll check this song out. Hooked me right away. I'm like, then I got Joe's Garage, all 3 acts, listened to it. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Just mind-blowing.
It just, and it's, the discography is so huge, and he's done so many different kinds of records, from fully orchestrated, symphonic pieces to jazz freakouts to doo-wop albums to, it just goes on and on. It's just insane how diverse and completely insane his musical mind was. But because of that, I think we gravitate towards those records that we heard, real early on in our Frank Zappa listening. And for me, the first thing I heard was We're Only In It For The Money. And so I've kind of got, I go back and forth between 3 albums as far as what's my favorite. It's either We're Only In It For The Money or Hot Rats or One Size Fits All. To me, flip a 3-sided coin. The genius, the greatness is just off the charts, ridiculous. Before we get into it, today we're doing the top 10 Zappa songs, and the numbers are looking strong already, man. I know there's a lot of Zappa fans out there. So let's just talk about a couple things real fast, and then we'll get into the Zappa thing. First of all, Prog Radio. We just did our inaugural the Prog Corner playlist. Kevin did an amazing job curating that thing, picking a song off of each of my top 25 and doing a countdown. It was over 4 hours long, so you can hear the Prog Corner playlist every Friday at noon and every Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Just amazing. Thank you. Just want to give a big shout out to Kevin for that. Thank you so much. Like I said earlier, this is our 16th Prog stream, Wayne. And can you believe, the last 10 have all done over 1K, which to me is just kind of the benchmark of, if you're doing a live stream and it's worth doing, if you're over 100, views, I'm like, that's not good enough, man. We're greedy around here. We want to be over 1,000 every time. So thank you very much to all the viewers.
Yes.
And, so we're going to be doing, I'm off this week. So my whole schedule is a little discombobulated. I'm going to try to do a couple episodes this week. The first one's going to be bands that completely changed their sound. Bands that made that weird turn in their career trajectory and just completely did that 180. I want to explore that a little bit more. To me, it's always been interesting why bands do it. Was it a good decision or not? Was it successful or not? And then I'm going to do a little album review, man. I'm so excited. I get this way when I hear new music sometimes, Wayne. You know that.
Yep.
You guys might not know about Ken Bard and a little band called Monarch Trail, but you ought to, because he's a fellow Canuck, man. He's one of y'all Canadians up there. It's Ken Bard and Monarch Trail. The 4th album dropped today on his Bandcamp page. It's called Four Sides. It's his 4th album. Same lineup, very good, stable lineup. I love Monarch Trail. If you like Genesis, there's absolutely no reason in the world why you wouldn't enjoy Monarch Trail. And this new one is awesome, man. It's really cool. Some twists and turns. So I think I'm going to do an album review for that. And then I guess I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything or not, but me and Pete Pardo are doing something before Christmas, so there'll be a new appearance on Sea of Tranquility, and I guess he's got a little poll going there, right? And vote in the Sea of Tranquility poll for best guest. Vote for me. I'm on there, man. I'm one of the nominees. That's pretty cool. I voted, but can you vote for yourself, Wayne? Is that cool? I don't know if that's cool or not, right? But I am. Cody, I'm pimping myself for Unsung Hero over on Prog Magazine. They've got a poll, the Reader's Choice polls, where you can vote for your favorite album, your favorite band, your favorite this, your favorite colored socks. And one of the things on there is Unsung Heroes, and I'm unabashedly plugging myself to win that. How cool would that be, right? Shock the world and vote for me.
And you know what? Actually, Scott, I watch Sea of Tranquility fairly religiously. I watch them actually pretty much every day. And that's how I found out about the Prog Corner. And now, I'm doing Brockway's Vinyl Bites. And
there you go.
Now that I'm good friends with you, I'm actually, every video that I'm doing, I'm pimping the Prog Corner out too. I don't know if you've been watching or if you noticed, but at the end of every video, I put your tag up, like to subscribe to your channel, and I put one of your videos up, and so I'm pushing the Prog Corner out too.
Oh, I see it all, Cody. Thank you. Yeah. At first, I was a little confused because I'm like, I thought I was watching one of Cody's videos, and then I'm seeing subscribe to the Prog Corner. So thank you so much. Hey, a rising tide lifts all boats. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, so I'm really excited. We're going to do one more with Pete Pardo over there on Sea of Tranquility.
Good for you, Scott. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's going to be great. And yeah, as you can probably tell, I got Chucky, man. He's out of the box. He's, he just wanted a little bit of free time. He's been stuck in this box for he just needed to breathe a little bit. This box is crazy, man. Get an idea how big Chucky is. The damage he can do if he gets free is it scares me. I'm a little frightened. So, if he comes out, give me a little warning. And finally, before we get into our top 10 favorite Frank Zappa songs, people send me links to their, Bandcamp. Here's a code for that. And here's a, Dropbox link for this or that or the other thing. Listen to my music, but if you send me a physical copy, you're going to get a mention. It's not really complicated, people. It's not. And when your name is Jeff Beck, come on, man. Come on, man. This thing's called Distant Starlight. It's by Jeff Beck. It's mixed by Eric Snodgrass, and I swear that name's ringing a bell. Maybe there's, another guy with a similar name. Obviously, I haven't heard this yet, but thank you, Jeff. Man, I'm pretty honored that Jeff Beck sent me, this CD from the grave, perhaps. I don't know, but that's.
I was thinking the same thing.
I just noticed the spelling's wrong. Oh, that's wrong. Hey, Spinning Prague, congratulations on you guys' channel. Voting as we speak. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Colonel Ed's worried about Chucky. Yeah, you ought to be. And Christopher's top 10 is filled with 10 songs. Yeah. I don't, that's too much reading, but that just started out pretty funny. And without a whole lot of further ado, man, I know we're all going to have some, honorable mentions and stuff like that. I'm going to talk about them at the end, probably. Okay. I think we should just get going on here. We've got an early betting line on Billy the Mountain. If one of us votes for him, you know what? I'm actually going to keep notes. I'm going to keep track since it's the three of us. It's going to be a lot easier. And I'm going to keep track of what everybody has as their top 10. And after this thing's over, I'll put that in the description because people like that kind of stuff, right? They like lists. And you know who else likes that? Kevin over on Prague Radio, so he can collate next week's Prague Corner playlist. And I'm guessing there's going to be a whole bunch of Frank Zappa and probably a whole bunch of Monarch Trail, the great Canadian band Monarch Trail. So far, that's what we've been talking about so far. So this ESP is working pretty good here. My pen's working pretty good. And we're going to start with no further ado with Wayne's number 10. Greatest Zappa song. What's it going to be, Wayne?
It's going to be from the album Jazz from Hell, Saint Etienne.
Oh.
Just a fantastic instrumental Zappa guitar number.
What album's that off of?
Jazz from Hell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I heard it last year again for the first time in a long time. And it just stuck with me. A song that it just keeps building and building. And like a lot of those songs from that Zappa era in the sort of mid to late 80s, just his guitar tone he was able to get on that is just phenomenal.
Hey, before we get going any further, we've got Kyle in the house. Kyle, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, although I was so hesitant because my Zappa knowledge is probably not compared to a lot of people, but I figured just to add one more person to the mix, I can contribute what I can. So,
well, that's all right. Hey, we got Zeb. Zeb is in the peanut gallery. How are you? So I need to start another page here for Kyle. I got Cody. Okay. I'm going to be all organized today, and I'm keeping track of this stuff, and we're going to post it. So let's see the way it's looking now. I got Cody. Cody's up next, and we're doing the top 10. I hope you got a list ready, Kyle. And Cody.
Well, that's the thing is I don't really. That's why I just I'm keeping the place warm for the next person who wants to come in. I'll drop out if
the seat warm now. You'll be all right. Yeah. It helps when I actually pay attention. Cody, what are you doing?
Well, I'm hanging out here with you guys.
What you got, 10, man? Where is it? Lay it on me.
For number 10, I kind of cheated a little bit because it is technically one song, but it's like 4 songs that make one song. It's the Yellow Snow Suite from Apostrophe. So, don't eat the yellow snow. Nanook rubs it. St. Alfonso's Pancake Breakfast. and yeah, I just the first 4 songs on that, like the first 4 songs that make up the whole suite.
Yeah,
get on your feet and do the funky Alfonso. How do you not love that?
Yeah.
That riff is just awesome in that. And that's my number 10 pick.
I love it. I love it, and I love the fact that you're considering that one track.
That's how I listen to it.
It's it's not ID'd as such when you buy the CD or the album, but who cares, man? It certainly acts as a as a single song. It's it's great. I have it in my honorable mentions. Don't have it in my top 10. Kyle, what do you want to say about that one?
That's a song I do know, and Apostrophe is one of the records I'm familiar with, and I don't think of it as a suite, but I can understand why someone might consider it a suite.
Okay, well,
it has the combination of musicianship and humor, which that's where I always go back and forth with Frank. It's like I love the musicianship, the humor sometimes is good, sometimes I don't necessarily doesn't do much for me. So,
I think that's probably the biggest hurdle newbies have with Frank's music. I've heard a lot of times, man, the musicianship is without question awesome, but what's with these weird songs about vegetables? I don't
pancakes and
what's going on with this guy? He's a weirdo. But I'm just gonna lay it on the line here. This is just me putting it out there about how amazing Frank Zappa is, the level of his genius. I am doing the 1 per album rule. Oh, man. So the number of great songs that I'm omitting as a result, just shocking. And here's my number 10, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, because that means no Andy, no Pajama People, no San Bernardino, no Sofa Part 1 and 2, which can only mean one thing. My number 1 is, of course, Inca Roads off of One Size Fits All. That's my number 10?
Yeah, I know. More on that one later.
Yeah,
I bet. That's what I got at number 10. I got Inca Roads.
More on that song later.
Inca Roads is awesome.
Yeah, just an incredible track. George Duke, Napoleon Murphy Brock, Tom Fowler on bass, just laying it down, man. Chester Thompson, that was a great rhythm section there, right? Thompson and Fowler. And then you got, you can't think about that track without thinking about Ruth Underwood and those vibes and that marimba playing. Just, I love Ruth. She's amazing. So that's my number 10. And now we're at number 8. And no,
what?
Dude, I can't count. I got number 9. And Cody, what do you got as your number 9 Zappa track?
My number 9 is, it's Flakes. It's Flakes. Yep. I love the Bob Dylan part with Adrian Belew in the middle there.
Yeah.
And then when it comes back out and Frank Zappa is like, I'm a moron and this is my life. Oh, it's just incredible. And, Terry Bozzio, I mean, just the whole track. It's 6 minutes, but it goes through all this crazy stuff. Like it just goes through all these modes and movements, right? But it's just an excellent tune. And it's funny and it's intelligent. And I like it's a healthy mix of the comedic side of Zappa and the genius side, right? I could have picked so many songs from this album, trying to grow a chin. I Have Been in You, Broken Hearts are for, a-holes. But Flakes is the one I just had to go with Flakes this time around. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Amazing. And you mentioned, Terry Bozzio and Adrian Belew. They kind of sound like they belong together, don't they?
Yep. It would have been nice to hear more of them playing together because
that's what I'm saying. It's just and even just thinking about their two playing styles, they deserve to be in a band together at some point. They really did. I guess they were. It was called the Zappa Band, but that doesn't count. Wayne, what do you got at your number 9 position?
From the album Overnight Sensation, I'm the Slime.
Oh yeah,
love that song. Love that opening guitar solo by Frank. Just hits in, and then having these vocals that almost match the perversion he's trying to match in the song, with it being like talking about TV and how it's controlling our minds, and everything. And he just great
Zappa touched on that subject a few times.
Yeah,
once or twice.
Just a few.
Yeah. And more to come.
Hey, you know, we're gonna break protocol here. I've got Pontus, straight from the peanut gallery. We're coming in cold. We don't know what's happening. We don't. This is the great. This is the excitement, the fear of the unknown. Will he disappoint? Will we be able to hear him? It's Pontus, everybody. Hey,
did you hear me?
Introduce yourself and let us know who you are and what's going on with you and Frank Zappa.
Hi there. My name is Pontus Norsema. I'm from Stockholm, and I'm part of the Contrarians.
Martin Popoff's group.
Martin Popoff.
Yeah. Yep.
And I just wanted to be like Archie Sheps sitting in on a Zappa show, or Jean-Luc Ponty doing coming in and doing a thing. But because I'm a Zappa fan since 1990, and actually I've been collecting a lot of things. I got the. Once you start with that rabbit hole, you can't get out of it.
Yeah, I'm scared
because it's unlimited.
Yeah,
it's so unlimited. I mean, it's so. I don't want to interrupt you. You were on your number 8.
Yeah, we were still at. We're still at 9. Actually,
at 9. All right.
Pontus, you want to give me your 10 and your 9? You got number 10 and the 9.
I'm going to go for number 10. I'm going to go with a song or a piece of music rather, from the Yellow Shark album. It's a piece called "Welcome to the United States."
Okay.
Wow. Where he actually is, the orchestra and the people around there is reading a entering form for going to the United States.
Okay. I know. I've heard about this.
Yeah, and it's just hilarious.
Yeah.
And he's doing this is done in 92, so it's more, in the middle of the piece he says, and if you're into terrorist activities, and then they play Wooly Bully or something like that, just for fun. They play Louie Louie, right?
Nice.
And for
Louie or Wooly Bully.
Yeah. And they did it as well. He loved those songs. He really did. He really enjoyed those. So that's my number 10.
That's 10.
My number 9 would be Piano People from Overnight Sensation.
Yep.
Great guitar solo. The vibe of that album really sits in there, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, I love it. What a great album. I'm at number 9 myself. We're gonna just do that, and then we'll come around with everybody at 8 on the same go round. And this is not only in honor of Cody's shirt, but I actually had pre-planned My Guitar Wants to Kill Your Mama.
Oh yeah.
It's a song I've always enjoyed, and really I love songs that get stuff backwards. Like, I love songs that start with the chorus. I love songs where you have all the backing harmonies in the verse, but the chorus is just one solitary voice. And I love the fact that this is the heaviest song possibly Zappa ever did. And it gets to its climax and you get a classical guitar solo.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. I love it. My Guitar Wants to Kill Your Mama. They tried to release this as a single called My Guitar. Didn't really do anything, but I love the song. I got that at number 9. So now we're at number 8, and we're going to start with Pontus.
All right. I'm going to roll. This is an interesting one because I'm going to roll 3 trucks into one.
Okay.
And
this is Zappa. There are no rules.
There are no rules because you can go our way, but I can say call any vegetable.
Oh yeah.
And on the Absolute Free album, there's 3 pieces of it, and I don't remember the title of everything. But we can go, if we just want one track, we can go with Just Another Band from LA. That version, that is killer. You know, it's just yet another guitar solo. They mocking Dylan, they're mocking country, and all that talk about where can I go to get my stomach pumped and all that. People have questions. So that's just fun. It's just plain. It's just them. It's just the Flo and Eddie band having a lot of fun.
Yeah. And that band knew what they were doing as far as having fun. I mean, that was a weird period of Zappa. I don't know if I've got any from the Flo and Eddie period on my list. I've been going back and forth with it. But at number 8, I'm going to go with kind of a sweet myself. It's side 4 of Uncle Meat, and it's King Kong. The King Kong suite. Just incredible. I remember when this thing first came out, I didn't understand it back then. And, to be 100% honest, I still really don't understand it now, but I've always loved it. The adventurous nature of the music combined with just how fun it was. It didn't sound like serious music. It sounded like seriously cool and creepy and scary music that I could wrap my head around and go to different places with. King Kong off Uncle Meat, I got at number 8. Wayne, what you got?
More of that later.
What I got at number 8 is from Zappa Plays New York, the opening track, Titties and Beer. That is, in my opinion, I remember the first time I heard this song, and I was just sitting there listening to it, and I'm like hearing Frank go on and on and on, and then all of a sudden the devil pops out, and hearing the back and forth between Frank and Terry had me absolutely just busting a gut laughing so hard. But the musicianship behind it is phenomenal. Like how tight that rhythm section is just mind-blowing, how they could keep in time even when Frank has to read a note on stage during the middle of the song. But anyway, that's my number 8.
That's a good one. That is a good one. Cody, I got you up next. Number 8. What do you got?
You're not going to believe this. My number 8 is from Zappa in New York, Titties and Beer.
No, it's not. Wow.
This is the box set. This is the big big Zappa in New York box that he did a couple years ago. This set here. Yeah, everything that Wayne just said, like the whole chatter between Terry Bozzio and Frank on stage, and it's just hilarious. It's hilarious. It's just perfect.
Beautiful. Okay, let's move along to number 7, and then I kind of want to look at some of these comments here because some people have some great thoughts, and I don't want anybody to feel neglected on this stream, man. No. Even though we know over 80% of the views we get are after the fact, so people watching afterwards, why do we care about the people that are here on the live stream? Well, it's a live stream. That's why we care. Come on, people, don't be that way. Stop it. Okay, we're up to number 7, and I want to start with Cody, and then I want Kyle to just kind of give me a Zappa song at random.
Sure.
All right,
okay,
so
go ahead, Cody. Go ahead.
What's you got at number 7?
Okay. So we actually talked about this just a little bit before we jumped on the stream, but it's Who Needs the Peace Corps from We're Only in It for the Money. It just I love his whole take on all of the hippie BS of the late 60s, and the whole nonsense of everything that was going on at the time, right? People getting all messed up in the streets, and then of course then they're getting beaten by cops and all this stuff he's talking about. And this totally sounds like 1968, like the music in it, like the production wise. Now this is that remix CD that they did with Chad Wackerman in the 80s, which we won't talk too much about that, but I know I know I'm not going to say too much about that. The original mix is where it's at, but Yeah, this song, I think it's so funny, and I think he has such a lot of things that a lot of people can relate to. Like, even if like you didn't have to be there at the time, but you can look at his views about a lot of things and go, yeah, I could see why he would feel that way about that. You know, he's a pretty relatable guy throughout a lot of his lyrics. Like we were talking about, Wayne, what was that song that you mentioned about Jesus?
Jesus thinks you're a jerk, and how it nailed American culture.
Yeah. So that's kind of, I mean, if I was living in the 60s, I might have a similar view the way Zappa did at the time. But yeah, this whole album is really good. Like we got Harry, You're a Beast. What's the ugliest part of your body? Are You Hung Up? But I had to go with the Peace Corps.
Yeah.
So that's my number 7 right there.
It's ridiculous, that album. Kyle, give me a song.
All right. I'm not sure if everyone's going to pick this or not, and it's sort of my token Zappa track, as most people know it best. I'm going with Peaches and Regalia. I'll tell the shortest possible anecdote. When I started doing radio in the Twin Cities here at KFAI, I was sort of mentored under this person who had the show, and every show she did, the intro to her show was Peaches and Regalia. So I heard that constantly, so I'll never not remember the intro, especially. But that's like jazz fusion, but sort of accessible jazz fusion. And you think about it, was on Hot Rats in '69 before the boom of jazz fusion and prog. And as I mentioned in the chat, it came out the same day. The album Hot Rats came out the same day as in the Court of the Crimson King.
Isn't that something? In the Court of the Crimson King, Hot Rats, same exact day. I love those little coincidences in life, those little counterpoints. Pontus, number 7, what do we got?
We got Eat That Question from the Grand Wazoo. And that is a jam. That's such a great, it's one of those riffs. I mean, that guy could find, he could write a riff and really, really drag on it. He could really, and he could bring a whole band around it, and in the beginning, it's just him playing like a guitar riff. In the end, it's like, a whole sort of Salvation Army band playing it.
Yeah.
It's like that arrangement stuff is his thing, where you go from one thing and you end up somewhere else and you wonder, how the hell did I get here?
And the thing about it is, he'd been doing that since Freak Out. It wasn't like all of a sudden Frank Zappa got weird or something, man. This dude had been doing this stuff since before there was such a thing called prog rock.
Yeah.
So, clearly Zappa has to be in the conversation as far as who was the person most responsible for the creation of prog. Zappa's got to be right there.
Weird.
That's a good pick, Pontus, and I love like that Salvation Army band kind of sound. You mentioned that's a cool reference,
and there's very cool. There's a cool Rhodes solo by George Duke, and George Duke was one of his best keyboard players.
Oh yeah,
he had he played with him through 1970, 1975. And I mean, he meant a lot to him. He really brought the jazz into it, because he came from that band with Jean-Luc Ponty and all that. He came from that field and really brought that in. And I really feel that, when George was there, he was really happy doing this stuff.
And it shows, but the George Duke impact on Frank's
George
music,
Duke.
Humongous. Love George Duke. Wayne, what do you got at 7?
Well, talking about albums that were released the same day, imagine this one: Sgt. Pepper and Absolutely Free by Frank Zappa, released the exact same day.
Wow!
And my song is, what I think, from what I've heard, it's the earliest I remember I could hear a sweet in music, and it'd be Brown Shoes Don't Make It.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like that song is you want to introduce someone and say, what's Frank all about? Brown Shoes Don't Make It is a perfect.
Yeah, you could do a whole lot worse. I believe at the time, Time magazine called Frank Zappa a genius and pointed to that song as his first absolute masterpiece. And hard to argue, but I think you've got it way too low on your list, Wayne. We're going to be talking some more about Brown Shoes Don't Make It in a minute.
Foreshadowing for something Scott's going to say later.
Oh man, I love that song. But at number 7, from Waka Jawaka, I'm going with side 1, man. I'm going with Big Swifty.
Oh, yeah.
What a track.
Yeah.
17 minutes of just some of the most insanely cool, tasty. This is jazz fusion at its finest. This is 1972, right? So you're right in that sweet spot where fusion was really starting to take off. But this was nothing new for Zappa. I mean, he'd been doing the fusion thing since all the way back in Hot Rats, man. And you mentioned George Duke and his influence on Zappa's music, never more pronounced than at this time, at this era, 1972, and Ainsley Dunbar. We mentioned Terry Bozzio and some of the other drummers Zappa's worked with, but wow, Ainsley Dunbar, he's no slouch on that cat can play. And when you listen to this track, the thing you need to really listen to is Sal Marquez and those crazy trumpet lines that he's got doubled and tripled. What a great track. What a great album. I love Big Swifty. Great tune. That's what I got at number 7. And here we go. We're up to number 6, and let's start with Pontus.
Okay.
At number 6.
Number 6. I'm going to go. I'm going to stay with the instrumentals. I'm going to go with one of my absolute Zappa favorites, and that is Shunga's Revenge.
Oh.
And recently there was the album Funky Nothingness.
Yes.
And on that album, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in that, there was the complete sessions about, we got take 5 and take 8, which was actually, which he spliced to get that recording we got. And that is about 4 minutes. And that recording is 18 minutes of just him jamming away with Ainsley and Max Bennett and I think George is on there, George Duke as well, and all that. It's cooking, man. It's really fusion before anything remotely like Return to Forever or they just blow it, man. They're really good.
It's incredible. And you mentioned that that new box set that just came out with all this archival stuff from that era. Zappa was so incredibly prolific that it just seemed like after Chunga's Revenge or about that time, it's like, where was all the material? Well, here it is, man. Just incredible. Here we are, almost 30 years since his death. I mean, he left us, 1993?
Yeah.
Right? So it has been 30 years. And we're still uncovering material from Zappa that's not just like, it's all right. We're still uncovering material from Zappa that's mind-blowingly great. Only Zappa can say that. Just amazing. So that's what Pontus has at number 6 is Chunga's Revenge. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, Wayne, number 6. What you got?
Number 6 for me is one song that also featured on a whole crap load of Zappa albums afterwards, Strictly Gentile.
Yeah.
Under Hotels. But the version from Orchestral Favorites is my favorite version of that song.
Yeah. Yeah, you see that sometimes too, where, you got to kind of pin down which album version you're talking about, because sometimes they appear on, multiple albums in different.
Oh, man. Like that opening melody line is fantastic.
Yeah.
But here's another thing about Zappa. He really could write cute melodies.
Yeah.
He really could write those songs. I mean, everybody talks about being, him being indocratic and very, very music is all over the place and stuff. And suddenly you have something like Strictly Until that if anybody else had done it, it would have been, a Cole Porter song. It could have been.
Yeah, could have been. Absolutely. And, that just goes to the depth of Zappa's music knowledge base. I mean, this was a guy that was deeply into Edgar Varsity, so he from an early age, he was listening to some pretty intense music. Music mattered to him a whole bunch. We're at number 6. Cody, what am I going to fill in this slot for you?
Well, Pontus made a good point about Frank's melodies, because I actually saw someone in the comments before we joined on here saying Frank had no good melodies. He said something to that effect, and I thought, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, not to disrespect others' opinions, but I just think that's not true, because listen to the Hot Rats record, right? But anyway, get into number 6.
Yeah,
so we're going to Roxy and Elsewhere. Now, this is the Roxy complete performance box set, but we're going with the regular album version of Cheapness.
Okay.
Does anyone here like monster movies?
Oh yeah.
The toilet paper, we need it.
I love it so much, and it actually got me to go and watch that really awful movie he's talking about. It Conquered the World. If you actually want to go check that out, it's on YouTube. No. It sucks, but
it's terrible. It's terrible. It's awful.
It is awful, but Frank talking about it and I love the song so much I had to go check it out.
Oh,
and it's downright.
Oh yeah.
But it's just a great song, and Roxy is one of the best live albums ever.
It is. It is. Roxy's incredible. It is it is so good that when I ranked my Zappa albums, I had to break protocol, man.
And put a live one. Yeah.
I had to put Roxy in there. I just did. Kyle, do you like that Roxy album at all?
I haven't heard it. I mean, like I said, I've seen the Zappa. I've never saw Zappa, but I know he has his known as a live performance more than anything in the studio stuff. And
that's
Deep Purple references Frank Zappa's band in Smoke on the Water. They were known as a live group, and they improvised. So
now that's a good place to
start. You have something good coming your way.
So I need to hear Roxy and Elsewhere. Okay.
Well, okay. So, but I know that most of you guys are Genesis fans. Roxy and Elsewhere is the album that Phil Collins heard when they needed a live drummer, and he heard, I guess it was Don't You Ever Watch That Thing, and he said that guy's got to play in Genesis. And if you listen to all the live Genesis performances of Afterglow, after Chester was in the band, they take the drum fill from More Trouble Every Day and repeat it at the end of every Afterglow, so that fill is taken right off of Roxy and Elsewhere.
There you go. Chester, man. Chester Thompson, what a great drummer. I love him. Still doing it after all these years.
Is it with like Unitopia, isn't it? Unitopia?
Unitopia, man. It's awesome.
Him and Alfonso Johnson.
What's his name over there at ProgRockEssentials.com? Even put out a new Chester Thompson solo album. I haven't heard that one yet, but it is on my list. Speaking of lists, we're in the middle of a Frank Zappa songs list. We're doing our top 10 Frank Zappa songs. We're at number 5, and we're going to start with Cody, the number 5 Frank Zappa song. What do you got?
My number 5 is another live version, but this one actually has a studio version, unlike my number 6.
Yeah, right.
So some people may choose the studio version. Some people may choose the live version from You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore, Volume 2, which is the Whipping Floss version of this, if you know about Zappa, of course. But I have to pick the Token of His Extreme version of Montana.
Oh,
yeah.
Gonna be a dental floss tycoon, whatever the hell that means. That's what he says in the song. He goes, whatever that means.
Whatever that means, man. Oh, what a great track.
I love this CD, and there's a lot of Zappa fans that have never heard this or seen it.
I haven't heard it. I know of it. I actually have never heard that.
It's incredible, Scott. It's really, really good. Get your hands on the DVD if you can, because it's really worth. Like, there's some really cool animation stuff interspersed in between in the long instrumental passages, but like the track listing is just awesome on the CD.
I gotta say, with as much product as Zappa had, as big as his discography is, that over the past couple of years, to me, it was just trying to make sure I had heard every studio album all the way through so that I could get my rankings right. And a lot of live stuff I haven't gotten around to yet. So I promise it will.
How long did it take you to do, Scott?
Yeah.
You know, what does he have? Like 60 like studio albums? I'm counting some of the live ones. Yeah,
it's just insane. It's ridiculous.
Probably 60 just when he was alive. There's probably about 100 since he's been gone.
It's so intimidating. That's part of it.
It took forever to get through, but I survived it. Hey, Pontus, what you got at number 5?
Oh, what I got at number 5? I go with side 1 of Lumpy Gravy.
Oh, there we go. Nice one.
Because that is what I think is the total freak out of a record. I always love that record because it's like, it's very much what you know, it really sums up his sort of thinking. And he used to have a phrase called any place, anytime, anywhere, without any reason or something like that. And that album is totally that. It's a collage of everything. Everything happens at once.
Yeah.
And it's just fantastic because you can actually sit and listen to it. And you've got all these people talking through the piano or underneath the piano. You got the orchestral stuff. You got people talking. You got the Studio C recordings that he mixed in. And you got, it's just him going berserk. But you know, being Frank Zappa, it's not berserk. It's just him. It's just him finding a way to doing this puzzle. You know, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's like a collage.
Think about everything he had going on musically at that same time. He, you know, it was like he was juggling multiple albums always in the late 60s and early 70s. And I just realized that I didn't give the world my number 6 pick. And I know, you know, probably on pins and needles. So I'm going to give my number 6 and then my number 5. Then Wayne's going to give me his number 5. At number 6, the penultimate track off of Joe's Garage. It's Watermelon and Easter Hay. Man, this hypnotizing, exotic track just really gets to it cuts me right here, man. I just love it. You know, the fact that it's in 9/8 doesn't hurt, but there's just something about it, man. Before you know it, 10 minutes has flown by like that, but we're playing the same chord progression all the way through. It doesn't matter. It's amazing. It's a melancholy masterpiece, and Frank's never played guitar any better than he did in 1979. Joe's Garage, Watermelon and Easter Hay. That's my number 6. And
number 3 on Spotify. 5. It's number 3 song on Spotify, by the way.
Really?
24 million streams. Yep.
Wow.
I love your Spotify ranking videos, by the way. I should say I love the Dream Theater one you did. That was really cool to hear your take on that. That was awesome.
It's something I thought it'd be fun to do because everyone does, you know, the reaction songs. I thought, well, why not just react to like a list or something? And yeah, it's a neat deal. We have to eventually do the Zappa one once I'm more familiar with Zappa.
That was a cool one.
Thank you. Thank you, Cody.
And at number 5, I've got off Bongo Fury from 1975. You know, you're spoiled for choice on this album, man. I saw in the comments somebody mentioned Deborah Cadabra. Couldn't agree with you more. How about Carolina Hardcore Ecstasy? Couldn't agree with you more. But it's got to be the Muffin Man, man. The Muffin Man at number 5. I love this track. I love Captain Beefheart. So why wouldn't I love Bongo Fury? Just a cool track. And, you know, I just seem to really like that. The Fowler brothers and Napoleon Murphy Brock and George Duke and Denny Wally and Terry Bozzio. Wow. Yeah, what a band. Muffin Man at number 5. What do you got at number 5, Wayne?
Well, like you said earlier, with Brown Shoes Don't Make It, I think Muffin Man's too low, but that's my opinion on it. But for me, at number 5 comes from the album Burnt Weenie Sandwiches and The House I Used to Live In.
Oh, yeah.
It's an absolute... I still think Jimmy Carl Black is one of the best drummers Frank Zappa had. Like his playing on this song is fantastic. Just everything going on. And it has a beautiful melody throughout. And it's just one of those where I listened to it the first time and I'm like, what's going on here? I had to keep re-listening to it over and over again. It's like a 20-minute song.
Yeah.
So that's the mark of a song that, you know, stays with you when you want to like hear it again and again.
Oh man.
You know?
There's so much happening in that piece that it just great. Fantastic choice.
Again.
And the fact it's all live and it sounds so good.
Crazy. Yeah. And what about Ian Underwood anyway? Yeah, what about him, man? One of my favorite musicians of all time. Just love him. Ed Zero's in the house. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, you're late, but something tells me you're not too late for Inca Roads. Anyway, now we're up to number 4, right? And we're going to start with Pontus and his number 4 favorite Zappa track.
Oh, this is, you know, now it's getting hard.
It's hard, right?
It's really hard. But let's go with Andy.
Andy.
Overnight Sensation. That is a fantastic. That is really his fusion piece where everything there is where we have Chester Thompson doing his weather report stuff. You know, it's really, really all those rhythms. I mean, it's just fantastic.
And, Pontus, you got fans, man. People are already wanting to know how they can get a hold of you and subscribe to you. I know you're on the Contrarians. Do you have your own YouTube channel where you do videos?
Sadly no. But
you just do work on the Contrarians, so you can subscribe to Martin Popoff. You can you know who else is great on there, man? It's Grant.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Grant, man. I did a couple videos with him. He's amazing. So okay. At number 4, Wayne, what do you got?
Number 4, I got from Joe's Garage. I know you did your video of like your all-time favorite lyrics and songs. This features one of my favorite, and that's Packard Goose. And the lyrics are, well, information is not knowledge. Knowledge is not wisdom. Wisdom is not truth. Truth is not beauty. Beauty is not love. Love is not music. Music is the best.
Yeah, I love that one.
Just hearing Frank also in that song, just eviscerating the entire music journalism sphere.
Another favorite target of Frank's, right?
Yeah, and talking about like punk and all these things that they say are the wave of the future, and Frank's like, oh, help me, please. But it's one of my all-time songs. I remember hearing that one line and just rewinding, listening to it, because it had such this effect on me where it's like, yes, finally somebody says it. Music is the best.
Nice.
It's better than anything. So there you go.
There's no life.
No.
Cody, what you got in the number 4 slot?
My number 4 is the one that will prove that Frank is actually a melodic genius.
There you go.
I think one of you guys had ranked this a bit lower on the list already, but I had to put it at least in the top 5 for me because it's just incredible. It's only 3 minutes, but it packs a lot into 3 minutes. It's probably the shortest track on this album, but it's one of his career-defining tracks. Peaches on Regalia.
Yeah.
It's just a wonderful piece of music. I mean, that awesome drum fill. I sit so often at my drums just banging out that drum fill that goes into the beginning of the song. It's iconic. It's awesome. And the sound of the drums on that, and then that whole just totally beautiful. It's there's nothing, there's none of the comedy side. There's nothing really scary or anything. Like, it's not, Who Are the Brain Police or anything funky like that. It's just, it has this own, not that there's anything wrong with those songs. I love all those pieces of music, of course, but it's like, this is just a totally totally different thing. Peaches on Regalia, just
and I think you're right, Cody. I think a big reason why a lot of folks love Hot Rats is you don't really get Zappa singing at all. You know, you got Willie Pimp, but that's, you know, the captain and whatnot. You can always fast forward over that song, and you got, you know, 5 other tracks with no singing at all. So I think that's always been a touchy subject with Zappa, some of the humor in some of his music. And
I won't fast forward over nothing on this. I love the whole thing, and I actually saw and met his son Dweezil Zappa when he played at the London Music Hall about 5 years ago.
Wow.
4 years ago, and he did this album for the 50th anniversary. He played the whole record.
Wow.
In its entirety, and he was the nicest guy on the freaking planet. You couldn't.
Yeah, well, we want to give a shout out to the entire Zappa clan.
Yeah.
We hope that they find peace and togetherness. What are we talking about? Ahmed and Dweezil and Moon and Diva and the Widow. Come on, everybody. Let's find a way to bond and you know, bind ourselves together in the greatness that was.
Life's too short.
Yeah, exactly, man. We don't need all these bad vibes, man. His music was, you know, the absolute antithesis of that. And
unity.
I've got a little repeat here at number 4. It's already been mentioned, but I'm doing the studio version from 1973 from Overnight Sensation. It's Montana. You know, and the 1 per album rule with certain albums really hurts, right? That means no Camarillo Brillo. That means no Zombie Whoop. That means no Dynamo Hum. What? That's rough, man, but you got to pick one, and it's going to be Montana. And I absolutely love this track. I think most Zappa aficionados understand its greatness. It's only 6.5 minutes long, but it's got a whole lot going on here. And I got that at number 4. And I think that wraps up number 4 for everybody, right?
I think so. Yeah. Kyle, did you mention for number 4?
Yeah, I think we got 4. All right, so now we're at number 3, and we're going to start with, let's start with Cody.
Well, my number 3. Well, so I'm breaking that rule because I didn't know that there was this rule.
There is no rules. I should have said a self-imposed rule.
Hold on, my Alexa's going off in my room. Alexa, stop. Sorry. Oh, damn technology. Anyway,
awesome.
My number 3 is "Honey, Don't You Want a Man Like Me" from Zappa in New York. I love this funky rhythm going on in this piece. You know, Terry Bozzio and Frank Zappa. This is like, this whole album is kind of that band, that lineup at its peak. I mean, naturally you have other great, you know, live CDs at the time, like Philly 76 is also a good one, but I had to pick "Honey, Don't You Want a Man Like Me" from this one because of, not just because of Frank's hilarious commentary throughout the song, but Terry Bozzio's responses back to him, you know, makes me angry. I could have killed that lousy. You know, it gets me going, and it is so funny, and it's just a genius. It's a perfect way to mix that, you know, again, the genius side of Frank with the really funny side of everyone in his band had an incredible sense of humor. And so that's my number 3 from this incredible live album. I could have gone with the Black Page. Maybe I'll throw that in my honorable mentions, but that's my number 3.
Yeah, honorable mentions are going to be just incredible. I mean,
I got about 6 of them.
It's going to be wild. Pontus, number 3. What do we got?
Oh no, it's getting rough now. I mean, it's getting rough. But I would go with "Bill of the Mountain."
Oh, nice. Which version?
Yeah. That's a whole side. That's a whole side of, you know, that's him doing his concepts, you know, that's it, you know, him doing a sort of, you know, telling a tale about, you know, anti-war things, and, you know, you have a mountain being drafted, and it's just silly, but it's just fun. It's just, and it really brings out what he was at the time. About 70, 71. He really wanted to make some you know, almost stand-up comedy with music. You know, it was like they you know, if you listen to different versions, it really changes from night to night, and it really tells this weird little story. But he's really into it. And it's a fantastic ad-libbing about Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and there's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, that just another band from LA is pretty fantastic, isn't it?
Wild one.
Yeah.
And I got Billy the Mountain in my honorable mentions. This is how difficult this is, man. I got my number 3. I've got Peaches and Regalia. What else needs to be said about it? I mean, really, a 3.5-minute track, and it just lays down everything. The world needed to know about what jazz fusion was going to do in a couple of short years. And, you put Zappa in the same category as Miles Davis, and I'm sorry, I can say it with a straight face. They're in the same league of pure, absolute, unadulterated genius. They could see the future. Not only could they see it, man, they helped manifest it just with the power of their genius and their greatness. And it's Hot Rats, it's Peaches and Regalia. And now, oh man, we're getting into it. We're at the top. Well, Wayne, you haven't given me your number 3 yet?
No, number 3 for me is from the album Zoot Allures. The Torture Never Stops.
You surprised me.
Yeah, it is.
We're going with another one off of there.
Yeah, probably the title track, but The Torture Never Stops is Frank just having fun on top of this repeating rhythm, and him having probably the ball of his life, having this whole sex scene play out in the middle of his album or his song.
And it's actually doing it.
Yeah, and it's just one of those songs I listen to and just keep listening to. And it's like when people mention Frank Zappa, this is one of the first songs that comes to mind when it's like you want to introduce someone to Frank. If you can handle this, you're on your way. So that's my number 3.
That too.
Good one. I like it. Okay, now we're in the top 2, and it keeps getting tougher and tougher. And I'm going to start number 2 off. I haven't started one of these off. And I'm going to Some Days is my favorite Frank Zappa album. It's, you started rattling off some names earlier, Cody, about songs on this album. We're only in it for the money. Just incredible. Every song on here is amazing. I could have picked Take Your Clothes Off When You Dance. I could have picked just a Concentration Moon, or just Discorporate, on and on. Who Needs the Peace for? Other people. But it's Let's Make the Water Turn Black. The actual songwriting, the chord progression, this is Gilbert and Sullivan, man. If you study the song structure and what the vocals are doing here, this is Gilbert and Sullivan, man. It's just absolutely genius. It's brilliant. Even though he's talking about setting farts on fire, it's a subject he keeps going. He seems to like farts a whole lot, but that's all right. And I think Wayne talked about Jimmy Carl Black being one of the better drummers. Yeah, technically, no one's going to confuse Jimmy Carl Black with Terry Bozzio. Do not get it twisted. But I love Jimmy Carl Black, man. I think he's amazing. I love this whole album. Some Days it's my favorite Zappa album. And I got Let's Make the Water Turn Black at number 2. Wayne, what do you have in the number 2 spot?
Ooh.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I remember seeing a documentary, and they asked, I think it was Napoleon Murphy Brock, about Zappa drummers and best drummers in the world or whatever. And he always answered with whoever played with Frank.
Yeah.
Is the best drummer in the world.
Yeah,
but my number 2 is going from Hot Rats, and it is Willie the Pimp.
Yeah.
Love that song. That guitar solo in Willie the Pimp. I'm like, Jesus, how many guitar players would have killed to write a guitar solo that good?
It's incredible.
And how many of them Frank wrote that? I know I talked about Pink Floyd, where you're like, even like their worst songs, some bands would kill to write that. Even Zappa songs, like how many people would have been like, I would have loved to have done that. and he was like so ahead of his time. But Willie the Pimp, and to work with Captain Beefheart, and the deal was he put lyrics to this or vocals to this. Zappa produced Trout Mask Replica. So,
right.
You know, it's amazing that partnership. You know, dudes met at Antelope Valley High School, right? I mean, so they'd known each other for a long time. And I guess Bongo Fury was actually another instance of, you know, one helping the other. I guess Zappa was flying high, but Captain Beefheart couldn't rub two pennies together. So, you know, it was just, you know, they helping an old friend. And at number 2, Cody, what are we talking about? What are we doing?
I had to pick a song from Joe's Garage.
Yeah.
It's not Watermelon and Easter Hay.
Okay.
This might blow some heads, but Vinnie Colaiuta's drumming. I had to go with Catholic Girls because of that weird middle section. That the drumming in that is absolutely incredible. And then in the verses, it goes to like this sort of like this almost like this shuffle with like the rim shots, kind of like gives like a bit of a Police vibe, at least with the drumming anyway. The rest of the music, not really, but
no, I hear it. No, I totally hear it. If Vinny, he could play anything, but the cool thing about his drumming is it seemed like he was like kind of like Neil Peart, listening, you know, not just stuck in one thing, listening to what's current, listening to what's all around and absorbing it and utilizing it. Yeah, good call on that track. Fantastic song. What do you think of Joe's Garage, Kyle? Do you like that one as much as Cody?
I mean, again, I know there's like more than one, right? There's like 3.
Yeah.
Well, like between that and we can't do that on stage. They're like these series of albums, and I haven't heard them. I mean, I know them by reputation. I know Portnoy's talked about them, which one he likes the most and everything. And we were talking about a couple weeks ago about Rush, and Vinnie Colaiuta's name came up, so that makes some sense. Yeah. But yeah, I can't.
Well, but the funny thing about Vinnie Colaiuta and how I made that sort of Police reference there, I just remembered that I saw Sting when he came with Peter Gabriel about 8 years ago, and Vinnie Colaiuta was playing drums at that gig.
Yeah, he was.
That makes sense.
And his drumming on this, and especially that track, is just freaking phenomenal.
What year did Joe's Garage come out?
79.
Yeah, that was right when the Police were starting to, go places and show up.
Yeah, hey, you know, it's cool that you were able to go to that Gabriel Sting show, man. I priced me out some prices for that, and I got a little priced out. I couldn't go, but
that was the show where Sting went into. I think it was the beginning of Dance with the Moonlit Night. You're talking about Brexit and everything.
Yep.
And then they played Message in a Bottle.
What you got as your number 2 Zappa song?
Yes, and I'm gonna do it like this. I'm the one who crossed this party, so I'm gonna go totally off protocol here, because this is one of my favorite sections of a Zappa album ever, and this is side 2 of Roxy and Elsewhere. This is actually 3 songs, and I can't and they flow into each other, so it's a sweet. It's Village of the Sun, Econina, Art of You, and Don't You Ever Watch That Thing.
Yeah.
And that is, if you want to know why Fusion is so cool to listen to, and if you're new into Fusion and you want to go in there and you know a few Zappa albums, just go for that side. Just go in there and see what these people do with rhythms, with there's the horn sections playing, and there's a killer solo in the end where Zappa just because he loves to play wah-wah guitar, and he used to, his wah-wah playing is just fantastic. Oh, yeah. So I just love that side. Just fantastic.
That's a good call. That's a good one right there.
Awesome.
At number 2, we got side 2 of Roxy from Pontus. Okay.
That's amazing, man. That's a great choice.
Yeah. Thank you.
I gave my number 2.
Zappa had a thing for doing sweets.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with Wayne and The number one Zappa song. Man, we've been doing good with time, guys. I appreciate that.
What's our top Zappa track, Wayne? We need to know.
We try to
get gallery needs to know.
The top song for me, Muffin Man. I love that guitar solo in that song, and seeing the video of Zappa playing it live and him like just playing it, and then all of a sudden just start high-fiving everyone, not even skipping a beat on that is fantastic. But also the drumming, the instrumentation, and everything that Zappa was able to be, as out there as Zappa was, he also understood he had to have a commercial side to him.
Yeah.
And really be able to sell records. And I remember hearing this, and I was looking up even tabs to how to play this. And I got to one section and I just gave up and said, I'm not worthy. But yeah, Muppet Man for me, it's my number one go-to song for Frank.
It's a good call. It's a good call. Can't argue with Muffin Man. I had it on my list. Cody, what do you got? Are you going to shock us, or are you going to go with an old chestnut?
I think I'm going to go with a chestnut. It's actually been mentioned here, but it was way too low for my liking. And I just want to preface this by saying this: everyone's list have been absolutely amazing. Everybody, Scott, Wayne, Kyle, and Pontus, you guys have exceptional taste in music. Of course, that's why you're here, right? But
of course,
my number one, it blew my mind, and it blows my mind every single time I hear it, is Inca Roads. Inca Roads. Yeah. I think that this is, I'm going to go on record right now to say that this is one of probably the top 3 greatest pieces of music ever written.
Yeah.
Maybe even the greatest. That's up for debate, I guess, but it could be the greatest piece of music ever written. Inca Roads, just, that amazing guitar solo that Frank does, and then he comes out of it with that and then they go back into this verse, but they're not even playing like in a time signature. It's playing like figures. It's like musical figures. It's like then they go into that wonky solo thing after that last verse there. It's the that is the most. If you can learn that on the drums, which I've taken it upon myself to do, it is some of the most fun. It's one of the most fun things. If you can conquer that, that's one of the most fun things you could possibly play. It's Chester Thompson's performance on Inca Roads. It is one of the greatest drum performances I have ever heard. I could go on about even just that 1 minute section, and then it goes into that 7/8 part. That another where there's a key change and there's another crazy solo there before it comes back into the last stanza at the very end. I think you guys know the part I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. But it's just incredible. And then it's just like it's chill inducing. It's mind blowing. It's astonishing. It's just incredible. This couldn't, as a drummer, this couldn't not be my number one choice. Yeah. This song, I think it's the one of the greatest musical accomplishments ever in jazz rock or anything. Yeah, I know.
I think it's studied at Berkeley, actually.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
No, I know. And then, of course, on Ruth. I know some people commenting here.
Yeah, they want Ruth. They love Ruth.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like
Ruth? We love Ruth.
Chester's theme.
Just so good. Just so good.
Thank you, guys.
Pontus, number one. Favorite Frank Zappa song. What is it?
Yeah, and here's the thing. I wanted to get into Zappa 1990, and I went to record shop, and I listened to You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore, Volume 1, and I was going to buy it, put it behind the counter, said, I'm coming back next week and get it. Coming back, and the guy has sold it. So I had to grab something else, and I just grabbed something, and I grabbed Uncle Meat, which is one of the hardest Zappa albums to get into.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I almost sold that sucker 2 times.
Understandable.
The song that really grabbed me, and got me to understand what was going on. the song that introduced me to Frank, and today is when I hear a live version of it and I hear the studio version, it's just fantastic, and it's got to be King Kong.
Yeah, it does.
Mhm.
What about the one with John Lennon?
Somebody mentioned the Babe Ruth version.
Yes, someone
which
did.
was on their first album. How good is that, man? Just incredible.
But did Babe Ruth have, because Jean-Luc Ponty played on King Kong, didn't he?
Yeah.
So they didn't get Jean-Luc Ponty to make a guest appearance on the Babe Ruth album.
They did not. That would have been cool though.
I mean, the whole. I love the Jean-Luc Ponty album. I love that, and it's just, and later on, it became such a centerpiece for every band he had played a version of King Kong.
Yeah.
And it just hilariously good. I mean, you got the 73 ones, you got the 79 ones, you got the 82 ones, which is just raggy all over. Yeah. And you even got the 1988 ones, which was fantastic. The first time that piece appears is of course on Lumpy Gravy.
Right.
It's not called King Kong, but it's actually that sort of music. I can't for the life of me remember what they called it then, but it's a piece that he wrote very early on, and it stays with him. So,
and you see that a lot with Zappa, where certain pieces of music show up later on. I think I had My Guitar Wants to Kill Your Mama. A little snippet of that ends up on, I think, Chic Your Booty later on. So it's a very common thing for Zappa, and it's confusing. And with how big his discography is, it's certainly real easy to just throw your hands up in the air and say, no, I don't really like that joke rock stuff. He's a little too jazzy for me. I get it, the problem with Zappa's music, but you're missing out, man, if you're not, I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here. Come on, man. This thing's called Frank Zappa's 10 Best Songs. I think we're primarily Zappa fans in attendance today. And I've got my number one favorite Frank Zappa song in my hand right here. And yes, it just proves the old adage that, when you hear an artist first, really does matter, because the very first record I ever heard, I didn't hear Freak Out, man. I was like 4 years old, so I missed that one, but I did not miss Absolutely Free, man. When that thing came out, my older sister had it, and she kept playing this weird song, man, about if she were my daughter, I'd. What was you, I'm like, what in the world? Oh my goodness, I just loved it. That was my gateway drug. That was the song that started a lifelong obsession with the man and his music. So my number one is Brown Shoes Don't Make It. I just love it. Jimmy Carl Black, Ray Collins, wouldn't you know it? A member of that band turned out to be a pedophile. Roy Estrada.
Premonition of what happened. Though.
Yeah, right. Be careful what you pretend to be.
Yes.
Kurt Vonnegut wrote a whole novel about it called Mother Night. That's a whole other issue.
Oh, really?
Billy Moondy, Don Preston, Jim Fielder makes an appearance on this record. Does anybody remember what band he was from? Yes, he was on the first. He's the guy from Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Played on this song.
All right.
Yeah. He also played the Doors as LA Woman too.
Yeah,
there's a new documentary on it coming out in February. By the way,
Jim Fielder sighting on this particular track, but Brown Shoes Don't Make It. One of the very first rock suites, I guess, with the different parts, the multi parts, whatever. It's only 7.5 minutes long, but I just love it. That's my number one. And real quick, I'm going to go around. We can give our honorable mentions. This one really hurt to leave off. It's The Adventures of Gregory Peccary off of Studio 10. Love that track. I am shocked that nobody had Black Napkins on their list. Absolutely shocked. When Zoo de Lourdes was mentioned, I thought for sure we were going there. Nobody had anything off of Freak Out. So, Who Are the Brain Police, I guess, got a little short shrift. It's kind of the song that started his whole career. Should be mentioned here. Valley Girl was mentioned. I had that as one of my honorable mentions. You Are What You Is. I always love that. And the whole Yellow Snow thing, man. That whole thing, man. It's got to be mentioned. I love Apostrophe. Yeah, come on.
Title track to Apostrophe is good.
Let's see. Is that it for my? Oh, and my final one. I did have one other, and it was Billy the Mountain. Because I don't know why. I love Billy the Mountain. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. It's absolutely silly. But that's part of the charm and what we love about Zappa. Wayne, do you have some honorable mentions for us?
Yes, I do. Uncle Remus from Apostrophe
right.
is on there. The Grand Wazoo title track. Dynamo Hum is one that you mentioned. Cosmic Debris.
Ooh.
Where's the title track? The Black Page, which is one Frank said he showed Terry Bozzio and said, "Hey Bozzio, look at this." And he was like, "Holy crap!" And then Bobby Brown Goes Down, Jewish Princess, Tinseltown Rebellion is another one, and what's the other one that I had on there? We're Turning Again, and Jesus Thinks You're a Jerk, and Sexual Harassment in the Workplace.
Okay, a lot of those mentioned in the comments already. Cody, what you got as honorable mentions?
I'm just gonna rip them off as rapid fire here. We got Harder Than Your Husband from You Are What You Is.
Yeah.
Black Page from Zappa in New York. Both parts are great. We got Advanced Romance from the Bongo Fury record.
Yeah, good one.
Who Are the Brain Police from the Freak Out record. We got Dog Breath from Just Another Band from LA. We got Approximate. Yeah. We got Approximate from You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore, Volume 2. And Son of Mr. Green Jeans from Hot Rats.
Okay. Yeah. That's the first mention, right? It might have been in the comments, but I think that was the first mention of Son of Mr. Green Jeans. Awesome. Very, very solid.
That was one of the songs I was going to bring up. I love that track.
Kai, what other ones? What other ones?
That Son of Mr. Green Jeans, that was the one I was thinking people would mention. People did vote for Willie the Pimp. At least one person mentioned Willie the Pimp.
Okay, good.
From Freak Out, I just revisited that a few months ago. I think it's Help I'm a Rock. That's sweet at the end. I didn't really care that much for that record, but that was the one kind of standout. It was like kind of psychedelic. I don't know. It sounded less like Zappa than most Zappa stuff I've heard. Granted, it's the debut album, so go figure. Yeah. But I can't remember. There were like one or two others I was thinking about. I mean, of course, Valley Girl you just mentioned, but that was just like one pop hit, you know. Yeah. So Apostrophe. What was the other song off Apostrophe? St. Alfonso's Pancake Breakfast, I suppose, is noteworthy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Good calls, all. Okay. And what do you got for us, Pontus? Other tracks that maybe just didn't quite make your top 10, or you thought about what happened?
We mentioned The House I Used to Live In.
Yeah.
Which is a great one. We got Waka Waka, the title track.
Yeah.
We got Stinkfoot.
All right, that's another one.
Especially live. We have Redunso.
Nobody mentioned Charlena.
Charlena, we got, and we got. Shall we go with Cruising for Burgers from the New York sessions, New York concerts? That is a
Dancing Fool.
Dancing Fool. We have Yo Mama. You have a lot. You have Florentine Pogan from One Size Fits All. You have Bebop Tango from Rocks and Elsewhere.
Not a good
so stuff. There's a lot of things. Yeah,
not a lot of good stuff. It never ends.
I was just remembering that we didn't mention "Shut Up and Play Your Guitar," which isn't that like a collection of live stuff? Is that what it was?
Yeah. Well, right. San Bernardino. I mean, there's another example. You know, I had my self-imposed one per album rule. And it took quite a few really good tracks off the board, but you know that was just me. I did it that way.
Here's another one, Scott. Yeah. Why Does It Hurt When I Pee?
Yeah.
From Joe's Garage. That whole first act of Joe's Garage for me is 10 out of 10.
Yep. And I'm glad that we, this is like an official documenting of the great Zappa tracks. So
I'm going to put a Spotify playlist together for this now.
Awesome.
I have to.
Good. Yeah, do it. Do it.
Do it.
You'll love it. It's a win.
Well, my friend and I used to always this things like I would rather cherry pick as much as people love the albums. The Zappa, I'd rather just cherry pick the songs I like because he seems to be so hit and miss for me. But his best songs are so damn good. Okay, you gotta go back to those.
Kyle, that's your homework. Put a Spotify playlist together. Put the link in the comment. I'll pin that comment.
Sure.
So everybody has it at their fingertips. Because I'm pretty sure, man, your friend's not alone. There's a lot of folks that feel that same way. That with so many albums with so much music that maybe trimming down an editor might have been a good thing for Mr. Frank Zappa. I disagree with that, but I certainly understand not everybody has as much time to digest all that music that I did when I had to go through the entire discography. So that would be a big help. Hey, man, I was just looking at the end of 2023, and there have been a couple really good records I did not get around to talking to, man. So before we go today, did you know Arabs and Aspect just put out a new anglicized version of the album they put out in 2018, Built for the Future, new album. I was listening to Prog Radio, the 20 Committee. Have any of you heard this band? So good.
I just checked them out, because Lorenzo from Alt Prog Card talked about them, and Nathan on Shuffle mentioned them, and Annie Haslam's on that record, and it's very kind of Return to Forever.
Man,
influence.
I'm digging it, digging it. And I was just gonna write in to Kevin at Prog Radio, dude, you need to get on board the new Andrea Orlando album. And before I could do it, I turned on Prog Radio, and he's playing a track off of it. That's awesome.
He's pretty quick, Kevin, over at Prog Radio.
He just read my mind. How about the dude from Fromero and Millennium, Richard Kramarski's got a brand new one, and I just got it today, and it's amazing. Retreat from Moscow. We had some guests on here talking about them and their second album. Hey, anybody into that band Angra?
Yes.
Well, sort of. Yeah, I love the early Angra.
Everybody loves the early. Come on, man. Everybody loves the early.
Anyone who likes progressive metal generally does like them.
Well, the early Angra had Kiko Loureiro on it, right? And he went and joined Megadeth, who I love Megadeth.
And now he's left Megadeth, I guess. So he may be going back to Angra.
No surprise.
That would be interesting. The number one album that just came out towards the tail end of 2023 is Monarch Trail, their fourth album, 4 sides, dropped on Bandcamp today. The CDs are available. He's supposed to be mailing me one, so we'll see. But I am going to review it either way because it's outstanding. And this is a weird time of the year for me because I've done all my 2023 stuff, man. I can't name another album, best album of 2023. That ship's already sailed, so. What do I do with all these records that I just rattled off that I absolutely love? Kind of like in a no man's land. Maybe I'll do like an odds and ends,
part 2.
Well, like Rhyme Signature just did the best of the rest or whatever.
Exactly. Maybe like a best of the rest type of deal.
Mm-hmm. You could say them. You could say them for the half-terming show in June.
Yeah, I could, but they came out in 2023,
right.
And I can't change that fact. So I have been on artists for the longest time. Kyle, you know all about the Giant Sky situation, man.
Yes.
Erlen, Viking, if you're watching, and I know you probably are, man, because anybody watches the Prog Corner. But if you're watching, please, oh please, do not drop Giant Sky 3 in December, man. It's 2 in a row.
Well, he did make a comment on my review. If you saw that, I don't know if you saw that, but he was saying how he was going to release a double album. He had one album. It was like it came to be 2 albums, so that's probably why it took so long to come out because he was posting throughout the year about the record coming. So I don't know.
And same thing with Monarch Trail. Ken Bard has been an really big a fan of this program, the keyboard player, the singer, the composer for Monarch Trail. In fact, he had not the very first, that was Molly Whipple, but the second comment anybody ever commented on one of the videos I did on the Prog Corner was Ken Bard, Monarch Trail. So he's been a fan for a while, but I told him from the get-go, dude, do not drop this thing in December. He hits me. I'm sorry. I had some delay. Planning on dropping it earlier.
Just wait till January. Well, as a comparison, I can tell you, Scott. Yeah, this band called the Pneumatic Transit. I've been friends with Jeff Zampillo for a number of years. He sent me an advanced copy of their album, but it's not coming out until like next month. So he kind of does get it, where the other artists maybe are not as they're more impatient.
It's all right. I don't want to tell.
We love it. It's music. Who cares? We have years to listen to it. Doesn't matter.
I don't want to tell people how to run their business. You know what? But come on.
Scott, you got a really great record behind you with that Haken record, Fauna.
Oh, yeah.
Behind you in the cubicle. I love that record, man. That is
one of my favorites of 2023, without a doubt.
Absolutely. That album cover, awesome.
And what a great album cover too. He did the Charlie Griffiths album cover, the solo album too. Just a great artist.
The artist
whose name escapes me right now. But
shout out to all the people that were in the Prog stream on Friday too. I know they did
that
yesterday.
Was fantastic.
Yeah, Molly was in there, and Ian LaBelle, everyone else. I remember the names, but yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, the listeners' lounge over there on Prog Radio. Talking to Kevin, we broke records Friday. The most people ever. Watching, listening, whatever. So that was great. Really happy about that. So we're going to keep doing that every Friday and Saturday on Prog Radio. It's the Prog Corner playlist. Anyway, talking about Zappa, man, this was awesome. Great idea, Wayne. What you got going on over on your channel this week?
Not sure if you've seen the post, but I'm taking the rest of the year off, mental health break. Other than doing the streams here with you, it's pretty much going to be come back in the new year, reevaluate.
There you go. Yeah, good.
Liked your end of your list, Wayne. That was a great list.
Mental health is the most important thing. You do whatever you need to do. Cody, what you got going on over there?
Well, right now, from December 12th to December 23rd of this year, we are in the 12 days of Progmas over on my channel on Brockway's Vinyl Bites. So every day we are pulling out random prog albums. We're pulling out random prog albums every single day. It's prog rock, prog metal. It could be classic rock or classic prog. It could be modern prog. Like we've done Haken. We've done the new Peter Gabriel one. Of course, we've already done One Size Fits All. We've done Tales from Topographic Ocean. Scott, I think you saw that one.
Oh, I did. Yeah. I see everything.
Yeah. Well, we're covering the whole gamut, and So today is day 6, so there's one coming out. It'll be on my page in just less than an hour, and then we're going right up to December 23rd. All prog, all the time.
Yeah.
For this 12 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. I've been watching them.
Hey, thank you.
What's going to be? One day it's Tesseract, another day it's Peter Gabriel, another day. It's fun. It's very random fun.
Is there any Tesseract fans here? I love that band.
Yeah, good band.
Me too.
I wanted to check them out for a while. Also, check out Spinnin' Prog. Seeing them in the comments.
Yes, cool channel.
Yeah,
cool channel.
Love them.
And Wayne's got a great channel too. So does All Media Reviews. You guys have excellent channels. Obviously,
we love Kyle.
Obviously, we know Scott does because we're all here, right? But lots of great YouTube channels on the panel here tonight. And the Contrarians too. I love that.
Yeah. I was just going to ask Pontus if anything new's going on there with the Contrarians.
Well, for me, I think we had a very good discussion the other night about does conflict make good music, and we discussed everybody from Kiss to Rumors to Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and all that stuff, and Cream and all that. And it's a very interesting subject. So it's coming out, I guess.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
I think it's a good topic because it's happened countless times. Pink Floyd, you just name the band.
The Zappa loonies, right? You have them as well. Mm-hmm. I just want to mention a record, which I don't think it's Zappa related. So it's very interesting. There is a Swedish piano player, keyboard player called Mats Öberg. He used to be Mats and Morgan
Right.
They had a great band in the. They still play together. They played for 40 years, and I know Mats. He's just put out a great album called Visa från inneröra, a song from your inner ear. If you like Chicory, Return of Forever early, like Light as a Feather and Hatfield in the North and Zappa stuff, and the I think Mike Neely is on there playing.
Could see that. Yeah,
you should really check this out.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds like something I would like. Yep. Yeah.
I love the Match and Morgan stuff. So good call. Thank you, Pontus. Again, a panel of absolute all-stars. Thank you once again for being here. Any final thoughts?
I was just going to mention there's something coming up on my channel the next week.
Yeah.
I haven't done my end of the year thing, and I'm assembling a round table of people that have never been on my YouTube channel before. So they're all new people, but they're all people I know. So throughout the world, actually. So it should be fun. We're going to plan to do it on Friday, so it'll probably show up around Christmas.
Awesome. We're looking forward to that. Again, thanks to the panel. Thanks to the Peanut Gallery. Thank you to everybody. I'll see you during the week as we straggle out some content during the holiday season. But this was a lot of fun. Thanks to all you people out there. I'm Scott. You know what's happening next. Peace in the Middle East, free Tibet, and God save the king. Amen. Chucky's on the loose, man. Save that king. That sucker needs your saving. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Nice to be on.
Everybody.